Good evening, I'm Lisa Lalapan, I'm here to present the accounting of these.
What are you gonna do?
I don't care, you can do it or I can do it. You want me to, Paula? All right,
We start at 6.
I get all that.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're early.
You're on there. Okay. Notice is hereby given that the Laguna Vista Audit Committee will meet on Tuesday, January 10th, 2017 at 5:30 p.m. in the City Hall building at 122 Fernandez Street, Laguna Vista. We call to order at 5:33.
And I just want to mention who's present. Mayor Susie Houston,
Here.
Councilmember Michael Carter,
Here.
Craig Davalos,
Here.
Gary Meski,
Here.
and our citizen that's on the audit committee is Rafael Salazar.
Here.
Okay, item 2 is to review the 2015-16 fiscal year audit with auditors from Stellar Brown and
Let me just say, Ms. Sheik, we appreciate Mr. Jimenez and his executive being here. Past 2 weeks, under state law, we have to have an audit done within 4 months after the fiscal year ends. It ended on September 30th, so it has to be done, so we're in compliance. It has to be done within 4 months for state law. We got Lizette here and Mr. Jimenez are gonna update us on the audit they conducted for the budget that ended on September 30th.
Good evening, my name is Lisa Lalapan, and I'm here to present the accounting of Vista's annual financial report. I would want to start off with page 1 of the report.
What number?
1.
Knock over shit. Yeah? Okay. Sorry, Dr. Mix.
This is the auditor's report, and this in essence represents our opinion. It is a unmodified opinion, which is a clean report. You'll see there in the bottom, it says opinion. In our opinion, the financial statements reflect to what present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the government activities that aggregated concerning the community fund and the aggregated supply information of county as of September 30, 2016. Next, I would want to go over the budgetary, which is in page 28. This is in essence represents your original budget, your final budget, and the actual numbers for revenues and expenditures. The last column is the variance between your final budget and the actual. If there's any negatives on the far to the right, it means that it didn't do so well in that designated line item. Okay. Your total revenues for the year equal to 1.7. You see that? And if you flip over to the next page, your total expenditures for the year is going to be right in the middle. It's going to be 1.6 million. That gives you a net change in fund balance of $137,000. So in essence, you receive more revenues than you actually expense out. So that's a good thing. Okay. That increased your fund balance to $854,000. Okay. Now that $854,000 is going to translate over to page 13 of the report. That 154 is going to be in the first column in the very bottom. So I just went over the revenues and expenditures for the general fund. Now I'm going to go over the total governmental funds, which is the last column. Total revenues for the entire governmental funds was 1.9 million. Total expenditures were 1.8 million, giving you a net change of 98,000, which is still good. That in essence increased your fund balance to 1 million. Last year ending balance was 905,000. This year is 1 million. Okay. That 1 million translates over to page 13 of your report. 1 million for page 13 of your report. Page 13 is your balance sheet for the governmental funds, and you'll see in the farther right column, to the third column, the 1 million that was transitioned from the previous page. So total assets for the year were 1 million, liabilities were 28,000, your deferred inflows, which is your taxes, were 21,000, and your fund balance is 1 million. So your assets equals your liabilities deferred and fund balance equal to the 1.5.
Okay, forgive me for not following you, but you said we were on page 13 and then you say go to page 13.
I'm sorry, to page 11.
Cool.
Okay.
That makes a big difference.
Page 11.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's easy to follow you with that.
I was about to ask the same thing.
Glad you spoke up.
I apologize for that. The 1 million is gonna translate over to page 11. You'll
Okay.
see the 1 million in the bottom, right?
Right.
So again, the assets for the year were 1,054,000, liabilities 28,000, deferred inflows were 21,000, and your fund balance was a 1 million goal.
And if you notice on that page, the committed project.
Yes, we did get the resolution from Mr. Vela saying that he needed for it to say that there is committed fund balances for the street improvement, Beach Boulevard.
And that's the 294.
Yes, that is within the general.
That's been in the budget, what, a couple of years?
The council adopted that resolution last year.
Last year. So this month, while we're having the other streets in town paved with block grants, this might be a good time to have Beach Boulevard redone. Thank you.
That concludes the presentation of the audit report, unless you have any questions over the numbers.
Carter?
Carter?
Y'all actually did very well this year when it came to the revenues. I know that there was one little thing that we had, were pending because the money weren't received, but we actually received it on time, so we were able to put in that increase. Even with that receivable that we wouldn't have put, y'all would have still been in the good area.
What Lizette is talking about is that we had submitted, I think I informed you one of the updates, the reimbursement from the health grant was 76,000. And we had submitted it in October, I believe, or early November. We hadn't received it. It's one of those things that fell through the cracks. And we're being told we're gonna mail the check. This is like 3 or 4 days ago. And finally, they sent us a copy of the voucher. And they said they would be receiving it Friday or Monday, the check. And it wasn't electronic deposit, it was gonna be mailed. Because we wanted that to be included, since it was for the activity that took place this past year, to be included
On this audit report, yeah.
Yeah.
Those were expenditures that were incurred for this year, for the year 2016. So, but, y'all did very well this year.
Thanks to Orlando and the staff.
I do have a question. On page 28, the expenditures beyond the budgeted, I guess that is tied into payroll maybe?
Expenditures, which section?
Number 28, on
Okay.
expenditures,
The general,
origin-
the public, or the community?
well, the budgeted amounts, originally 456, right, city administration. Then it's 486, and then, but the actual was 538, so there's a negative of 52. So what that means is that we actually spent 52,000 more than we budgeted?
Yes, for that city administration, usually.
Was that payroll
It might have been
increases?
payroll. Yeah,
Might have been?
might have been, because there's other stuff including.
Well, it was probably for the legal expenses.
Oh, okay. Legal expense?
Because there's several things included in here.
All right.
Not
It just
just,
varies.
yeah.
The other guy, not me.
The other guys, so Rolando didn't spend it.
The other two.
Is that something that needs to be adjusted for next year, so that there's not that much variance next year, or is it little stuff that came up?
I think we did increase the budget for legal expense this year. So,
And it's an ongoing expense.
exactly.
Attorney keeps wanting more money?
Well, he's doing a good job, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Just
This
my
one is
person.
too. This one is
That's one
too.
reason.
Not that you're not.
We're not spending all our money.
Oh,
It's a big difference.
I make a motion to accept the audit presentation and accept it as was presented.
A second.
Motion is correct. Says to review, do we need a motion on this?
You had a motion. It's just a review, I don't have the agenda in front of me.
Yes.
It just says review, to review.
Yeah,
Does it normally need to be approved or
In
recommended for
our
approval?
town council,
No?
in the town council.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Any further questions of the staff? Thank you.
You know, thank you for your work.
How much were we revenues or excess of revenues? What is that?
For the general fund is this one.
Rolando, are you finished? Do we need to,
Yeah, we'll finish.
can we go ahead and adjourn?
Yeah, adjourn.
Motion, I'm sorry. Motion to adjourn.
I second.
You seconded it? You did. Who made the motion?
You did.
Okay, I did. Okay.
Oh, you were asking for the motion.
Motion on the floor to adjourn by Mayor, seconded by Rafael. Salazar. And at 5:45, all those in favor say aye. Motion passes. You're a fast one.
I mean, nothing. Do it.
The town of Laguna Vista will be held Tuesday, the 10th day of January 2017, at 6 p.m. in the City Hall building at 122 Fernandez Street, Laguna Vista, Texas. Call to order at 6:01. Invocation and pledge led by Councilman Nesky. Please
Please bow. Father, we thank thee for the many blessings you give us each and every day. We're grateful, Father, for the privilege to gather here. We thank you, Father, for taking care of our soldiers who protect us and those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Be with us at this meeting, Father, that give us the patience, the understanding, and certainly the wisdom to make the right and just decisions to run this company and our city. We again thank you, Father, for all the blessings. We pray this in Christ's name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I this flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
roll call. Alma?
Mayor Susie Houston. Here. Councilmember Michael Carter.
Here.
Wanda Reyes. Here. Frank Zavala. Here. Letty Cabrera. Here. Gary Meski.
Here.
And Nadine Smith.
Item 4, open forum. At this time, audience is allowed 5 minutes per person to address the council on any topic. There is no discussion or formal action taken during this agenda item. The speaker must identify before speaking. A speaker request form must be presented to the city secretary prior to the meeting. Mr. Beatty?
Thank you. I'm Bill Beatty of 14 Lakewood, and the topic I want to speak on is animal control. I want to make it abundantly clear that I do not approve of hurting animals. I think animal control is a human problem, and we have it here in our town, unfortunately. This is no reflection on the police, but I think they're doing a wonderful job. Let me show you what I do when I go walking in the office. This is the pouch with the bags for the necessities. This is the pepper spray. This is the nicer spray, which is citronella, which is supposed to stop the nice dogs because they hate the smell of it. But I go everywhere with these two things, and I've had to deploy them only a few times. And honestly, it's just peace of mind for me, because when a real dog attack happens, it happens like that. There's nothing you can do about it except get into it yourself. I have 2 small dogs. Ironically, just before coming over here, I was walking down the street with my 2 dogs. Officer Lerma rolled up beside me and asked me if I had seen 2 large loose dogs. And I said, where? He said, kind of where you're headed. So we went home. That is the sad truth. I'm not as scared as my wife is. My wife used to walk 4 dogs from our house on Lakewood all the way over to Beach Boulevard. Over the years, she's just cut it down to 2 areas. She'll walk here at the park, she'll walk on our street. Okay? Again, it's a people problem. It's people thinking, I'm special, my dog is special, I can control my dog, he can go out. Or there's these little dogs who are running around not hurting anybody, so I'll do the same thing. This is unfortunate, and nobody, myself more than anybody else, likes to call the cops on their neighbors. It's a tough thing. People get mad and spray their dog, hurt their dog in any way. My wife can't stand to deploy these things because the dog suffers from it and gets sprayed in the eyes with pepper spray. But that's what we do. I really want to say the police are doing a great job. If you go and scan their page, it's just picture after picture of dogs that they picked up, and asking, is the owner, can the owner be found? But they have bigger fish to fry. They really do. I think we need an animal control officer, some type of presence, because people need to know that this is not acceptable. We had an unfortunate incident on our street, as you all know. That should not happen. As we all get older, myself included, the one fear is not so much getting bitten, but it's falling down. And something like this happens. We have 2 leashes, a big tangle, something's going to happen. So I implore the council, first of all, thank you for your service. I know you do this without remuneration, but think of this as something that is really weighs heavily on the minds of us who are dog lovers. We don't want to see animals destroyed because of this. We don't want to see them hurt. It's a people problem, and I think it needs to be addressed that way. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Arlene Kurtz.
Arlene Kurtz, 42 Lakewood Drive. Dogs, we all have them, they're part of our families, and most of us all enjoy them. We keep them as pets, and they are part of our life. In regards to, I guess everyone pretty well heard about my wife being attacked there several weeks ago. And in regards to that, I'd like to show my appreciation to Mr. Nushi, city manager, the chief of police, the sergeant, and all the force for their response and care which they've given my wife and I. They followed up and come to our house several times to make sure that we're doing okay. As my neighbor said, we are getting older. I'm well in my 80s. I'm not quite as agile as I used to be, but I now carry a stick with a laser it scares them away, hopefully. As you all know, Laguna Vista's got more dogs than we need. An incident I called this evening, my neighbor called, 3 dogs in Lakewood alone in Fresno Street running loose. It's becoming a real problem. And I would suggest 2 things. I would like to see our city adopt a licensing of all dogs with a substantial fee to help take care of the cost, and the position of a animal control officer full-time. Take the burden off the policemen. They have many other things that they need to be doing, and I think it would be money well spent, even if we had to raise our taxes a nickel. I don't think there's a person in this town would object to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item 5, discussion and consideration of possible action on each of the following items. A is presentation of the 2015-16 fiscal year audit by Patillo, Brown and Hill. They presented their audit to the audit committee at 5:30. The audit committee accepted it. So I'll leave it with the council to discuss. Mr. Neske and Mr. Carter are on the committee.
I just comment, I think it'd be good if our city manager would kind of just mention a few things about the audit to the folks who wasn't here, maybe some of the visitors as well, just to show that there's a positive thing in this particular audit.
Sure. One of the things that our budget ends on September 30th. And under state law, that budget has to be audited within 4 months. So the council has to get a presentation from the auditors on that budget. How much money was spent, the various accounts, how they were accounted for, and how much revenues or expenditures, or vice versa, whatever. We're happy to inform the support of the council that for the budget that ended on September 30th, we were $137,428 of revenues, excess revenues over expenditures. So we ended up the year on September 30th with $137,000 more in revenues and expenditures, which is a good thing. We strive to always end up in the black, and that's what you have here. And we ended up with revenues of something like $935,000 that we have in revenues. So that's much. Mike, would you like, being the CPA, would you like to elaborate on some of those things?
It was a clean report, nothing out of the ordinary. It was a good report, that's the bottom line.
It's our report card, so to speak.
There are no instances for them to report on, which is the important thing. And if you weren't here and you wanted to understand, I would read the management discussion and analysis, which is the first portion of the audit, which is kind of a layman's terms to wrap up the whole audit for you all.
Just comment to our city manager for doing such an outstanding job, not just on the positiveness of the report, but the transparency. You excel in keeping us advised, and I'm not just throwing flowers, these are facts, guys. I've been involved in a lot of different companies and businesses, and for people to inform you and keep you informed weekly, so you know what's going on within, is very important, so we know how to react in our meetings or private meetings on the side to get things going. You've done an outstanding job, and I certainly appreciate the transparency of it.
Well, thank you. It's been a team effort, and there's no I in team. That involves the employees, Alma, the council, everybody working together. We're trying to move forward and be transparent and trying to save money and try to do as much as we can and continue to improve the services we provide. And look for partnerships and maximize the money we have. So.
Thanks to Rolando and staff.
Makes a difference.
Just to highlight one more thing, our city's, the strength of our city lies in our fund balance. And we have 195 days of fund balance. So if our city, we didn't collect another dollar, we could run for another 195 days before we ran out of money.
What is the guideline, Mike, is it 60 days? or
90 days.
90 days?
So you would
So
like to have
we're
at least 90
So we're
days.
above that, which is really good.
We have twice.
Twice.
Great.
While we're still on this, I do want to, I don't know if rest of the town council got this, but I'll just, we committed last year $294,000 for street improvements to Beach Boulevard. And with the upcoming, block grants to redo the rest of our streets in town, all of the streets in town will be redone in the original town site, except Beach Boulevard. And I think while we're having the engineer studies and going out for bid on the other streets, we need to go ahead and get Beach Boulevard taken care of, because it'd be more cost effective to do them at the same time, rather than doing this, one of the streets now, then leaving, and then coming back and doing Beach Boulevard. So we can't make a motion, I'm just throwing that out for another time.
Well, it makes sense, Mayor, because all the equipment and everything will be in place, it will be here, and I'd have to move it away, then bring it back, that costs money. So,
Well, and if we stick with the $294,000 that they say it's gonna be, it's 57 days upon balance. We down to 138. We're still living.
still okay.
Yeah, and what's happening, to add to what the mayor was saying, the engineers already started working in construction plans for Orange Lane, the street improvements. We got a grant for those improvements. So it would behoove us that when we go out for bids, that we go out for bids with Beach Boulevard with more quantity, ends up saving 10, 20, 30% possibly, because you're combining these two. Even though we would have to process them differently because this involves a grant, we have to get different invoicing. But having those two streets being done at the same time.
It was because of the foresight of this council last year to set aside this money. Thanks to all of them.
I would just like to add, that it's about the resources that we have that you utilize, and bringing them all to the table, the grants we go after and everything else, that we can be proactive as much as possible. Not have to call them back again, it becomes something else which is more expensive, is when we have them there, we do it all at one time, and it seems our city going in the long run.
And exactly, and if you know, I'm sorry, I didn't say that. No, on the estimate that the engineer provided, there was some contingency money included. And all that money's not included, it's just, it's not used, but you always wanna be conservative. The drainage pipe that goes into the marina, here with, if you've seen a slight collapse, that pipe needs, that block pipe needs to be, square pipe needs to be resealed. So once we start reconstruction of these, we're gonna expose that pipe and reconstruct it, and to make sure that it doesn't collapse anymore.
You could probably get back to discussion in
Yes,
the audit
thank you.
for DDA.
Way more
Okay.
funding that way.
My fault.
But it's,
My fault, but I did want to mention that while we're talking about the town. Thank you, Counselor.
I make a motion to accept the audit for 2015, 2016.
I second it.
Motion on the floor, made by Councilman Carter, seconded by Councilman Reyes, to accept the 2015-16 audit. There's no further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, consideration and action to approve the minutes from December 13th, 2016 regular meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
One second.
We do have some misspelled words in here. We're gonna, I know that's a little minor, but.
What? I'm sorry, I missed those. I did read
On
it, but
page
then.
2, under 6 consent agenda items,
Two,
you have
number 6.
Councilmember Maskey absented from voting, so be abstained. That's the only correction I saw.
So, Councilwoman Smith and Councilwoman Keplinger, would you like to go ahead and make your motion with those corrections? Any further discussion? Motion on the floor to accept the December 13th, 2016 regular town council meetings was made by Councilwoman Smith and seconded by Councilwoman Keplinger. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, this is to adopt the delivery system reform incentive payment services agreement for fiscal year 2016-17. Orlando?
Mayor and Council, this is the agreement between the University, Texas Science Center of San Antonio and the town. This is the health grant, the agreement for the health grant. We've been getting $85,000, and what you have before is, it's actually a reduction of $68,000. basically, and I sent an email, and I provided a hard copy of that email along with the agreement. What they've done across the board is reduce the amount 5%, and they prorated the salary of our community health worker. Basically, since we hired one, and it really didn't work out, so they're saying basically, you know, for the first 3 months of the year, you really didn't have anybody, so we're gonna cut that percentage. We're gonna prorate the salary of the community health worker for the last 9 months. So that's why it's a reduction on the budget. They assured me today that for next year, there'll be a 5% reduction, but it's gonna be 88,000. And one of the challenges we've had, and is community health worker. Because like whenever he says that in a remote area, we have to try to get somebody from Los Fresnos, Port Isabel, or possibly Brownsville. And this community health worker is out there doing blood pressure testing and weight testing, and also trying to promote health, wellness and health in this community. So they have to reach 260 people and follow up with them by the end of the year. Because we haven't had somebody the first 3 months, they reduced that amount to 222. So Alma is gonna be interviewing people tomorrow, and there's actually some very qualified people. So we wanna get somebody on board and hit the ground running. Because part of this budget that's before you is not just this testing of people, is a 20,000 for environmental, what they call environmental project. Extended trail, the bike racks, anything to promote wellness and health in the community. Like we put this exercise equipment, and people actually use them, and they're working out and doing, while they're walking and running. So we've got 20,000, they've capped it at 20 from now on. And so we can make amendments to the budget, slight amendments, but, you know, for advertising and so on and so forth for this program. So the agreement before you has an amount of 68,000. And I'm asking the council to consider approving this agreement, formalize this so we can move forward on it. And we're gonna have to make the change on the budget. During the budget amendment, we'll reduce the amount of revenues and reduce the amount of expenditures.
And our budget.
A budget amendment process, correct.
I make a motion to adopt the delivery system reform incentive payment services for fiscal year 2016-17 in the amount of $68,000. I'll second that. Motion on the floor. There's no further discussion. Motion on the floor made by the mayor and seconded by Councilwoman Keplinger to adopt the delivery system reform incentive payment services. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item D. This is first reading, so there's no motion. To consider the first reading of ordinance number 2017-01, adopting the anti-litter ordinance. Rolando.
Mayor, Council, this is something I worked with our attorney Rick on drafting this municipal work on the first one, adopting an anti-litter ordinance for the community, and which we're encouraging people not to dispose of trash on ditches, on the streets, and there's penalties for that. I might add, and there's definitions, the various sections that outline littering and dumping, what's prohibited. And it talks about educational programs. And in the process of doing this, we're repealing ordinance 2012-23. The plastic bag ban ordinance is being repealed with this ordinance.
In order to bring you into compliance with state law.
So we're encouraging people not to litter, and in the process, we're repealing that ordinance.
You're correct, there's something hopefully it's good words. Questions, Mr. Miller?
I have a few questions. In section 2.03, the it says an offense under this section is punishable by a fine not to exceed $500. is that when somebody litters in the wrong place unknowingly? I'm just curious, because the next one it says, the $2,000 is if the person acted intentionally, knowingly or recklessly. So I was just curious, the $500, is that for somebody that unknowingly, like you thought you could put trash there but you can't, is that, I just wanted to make sure, is that something that has to be?
Well, one of the ways you can litter unknowingly is you can have a pickup truck, put stuff in the back of the truck, drive down the road, suddenly the stuff starts flying out. You know, if it's paper or plastic, whatever.
But I'm just curious, that fine is for unknowing.
Right, it's a lesser fine. If you
Okay.
do it knowingly, it's up to 2,000. These are maximums.
Okay.
The fine can be far less than that, depending on the circumstances it's determined by the court.
And then I have another question. In section 2.04, since I just bought the house myself, it's just below that. It talks about big trash receptacles that has to have protective covering that to contain litter. And I was just curious, and you see these at homes that's being built, including mine that was just built. You see these really, really big containers. They're almost as big as, and they are obviously don't have lids on them. Should we maybe allow for those? Because they use those at building sites and they don't have lids on them. There's nothing in your, the only thing that was in here that all receptacles has to have a lid and it'll be punished. So I know at building sites they have
You're
those.
talking about construction,
At all the homes that's been built, you see them and they don't have lids, so we should maybe allow for that.
we should include an exception for facilities that are under construction and will have
I don't know what to
bins,
call them.
yeah, whatever they're called.
Okay?
Roll-off.
So, that's a good point.
We will make the change for the second reading.
Yes.
That's all. That's all.
Any discussion, questions?
Really, the intent of this ordinance is to try to target the folks that throw stuff out of cars and that kind of thing. That's what we're trying
Trying to keep the plastic bags out.
to, right?
Well, there's no further discussion of the analytic ordinance. Let's move on. Item E. This is to approve resolution number 2017-02, urging State Representative Renee Olivera and State Senator Eddie Lucio Jr. to take no action that could weaken and limit the application of House Bill 4059, which was signed into law by Governor Greg Abbott in 2015.
Mayor, Council, the session just started today. The legislators were sworn in. The past few weeks, what we've been doing is keeping our eyes to the ground, our ears to the ground, so to speak, and trying to listen to what's going on behind the scenes. Because you play offense, you file bills, and you play defense to oppose bills. We're hearing that there may be some effort on neighborhood city to file legislation and try to weaken the bill that the governor signed into law 2 years ago, which is referring to House Bill 4059. Representations or misrepresentations have been made that Laguna Vista and Porcelain are on board with this effort, which is totally false. We want to simply reiterate, I'm asking the council to adopt this resolution to reiterate your support of House Bill 4059, and to encourage the legislators to not do anything to try to weaken that new law or try to get the cities to opt out. I might add, I've had discussions with the city manager of Port Isabel. Port Isabel, not going to be locking arms on this effort with the litigation and this legislation. This resolution is on their agenda at tonight's meeting as well. I'm going to be traveling next week to Austin to continue working on this, and I want to be able to hand deliver these resolutions to our legislators and to reiterate the community support or town support for this House Bill 4059 that Governor Abbott signed into law in 2015, that we don't want them to do anything, to leave it intact. And that we're prepared to do whatever we need to make sure that nothing happens. So this resolution is in support of that state law. And in the end, to encourage their support of allowing small cities to to grow and to prosper. If they adopt any legislation towards that end. So,
I might add that Brisbane and Laguna Vista traveled to Austin many times to meet with our legislators over the years. We met with them here, we've met with them up there. We have worked tirelessly for years to get that bill passed in 2015, and we don't want to see it go down. So we continue to work. There's a contingent of us that are going up to Austin next month to meet with our legislators. And we encourage you. So Mr. Rose read this employees from all the small cities of Cameron County. He has led this, and Cameron County should be proud of Orlando, and he should be proud of Laguna Vista, because Laguna Vista has been the spearhead of the small cities because of Orlando. So I will make a motion to approve resolution number 2017-02.
Mayor,
Yes, okay, let me get a thing and then we'll discuss this more. All right. Yes, sir.
you said 2017 is 2071.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be 2017.
Okay.
Isn't it, Alma?
Yes, sir.
Current year.
That it's like when, it was 2000, when the millennial changed and all the computers were supposed to mess up, and that's what happened in 2017, all the computers messed up, they can't spell now. Okay,
Ma'am, I have a question.
yes.
So when you guys take the resolution up to them, that would be, you can hand deliver them to them actual, and they can actually see that, to know for a fact.
oh, I'm gonna go to Representative Iveta and give it to his chief of staff, and then go to the chief of staff, Representative Alicia, and say, reiterate our support, saying, both cities did this, we're in a position that we will enlist the support of the surrounding cities with resolutions in support of this law, because it benefits all the small cities in Cameron County. We're prepared to go to that extent. And what happened, the chief of staff told me for Representative Iveta, Laguna Vista doesn't want us to do anything we won't. We want a letter from Laguna Vista Puerto Rico saying that they want us to do this, weaken the law, and if they don't want to, we're not even gonna do anything. So, but we wanna reiterate that. You always wanna be on top of that, continuously pounding the message.
I guess we can also write letters.
Correct.
And we can write them.
And when we worked on this last time, relative, we were, all of you were texting the senator.
Going up there.
And going to the mayor.
A lot.
In fact, one of the visits the mayor went to, she missed her granddaughter's graduation on the Tuesday. She flew and.
I don't know, I missed something.
Yeah, so
But we were up there one time and Senator Lucio was on the floor. He thinks enough of Laguna Vista to come out, he left the floor to Senate to come out and talk with us. So, we just worked tirelessly to see this go up in places. And it's not just for us, it's for Rio Hondo and Los Indios and all the towns, small towns. Okay, so if there's no further discussion, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item L, potential action to appoint residents to the Community Development Corporation Board. We have four applicants who did one go.
I don't know which one to draw.
Okay, so we have four applicants and we have three positions. And let me refresh. We can appoint one at a time. Yes. Anything to say? One at a time.
One at a time.
One at a time.
You don't know who withdrew?
I guess no one withdrew. Okay.
If I may appoint Mr. Randy Levy.
We need a second for that.
I'll second.
What are we looking at for?
I make a motion.
We have to do one at a time. Okay. For the CDC. And who seconded that? Frank? Okay, so motion on the floor made by Councilwoman Keplinger, seconded by Councilman Frank Dawes to appoint Randy Furby to position one. Shall we, you want to say position one to the CDC? Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I make a motion to appoint Victor Ball to CDC position 2. Is that open?
Motion on the floor made by Councilwoman Smith and seconded by Councilman Davalos to appoint Victor Laurel to position 2 on CDC. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to appoint Norris Fletcher to the CDC for position 3.
I'll second that. Go ahead, Gary.
Aye. Which one?
Mayor, I believe his appointment will require that he resign from other boards, because I believe your board handbook requires that he serve only in one board at a time.
Can we go ahead and appoint him tonight and have
He
him?
can appoint him subject to.
Subject to.
He agrees, or he resigns from the other boards.
So Councilman Davalos, Councilwoman Keplinger, do you want to appoint him subject to his resignation from one of the
No,
other?
it's not ours.
I don't think you're.
It's not.
I thought we revised that.
You're
But
able to
he's already
serve on
on-
2 boards except for the Board of Ethics. is what I was-
Yeah, there's an exception that says that you can serve in 2 boards, as long as the second board is not one that meets regularly.
So he's on the Board of
He's
Ethics?
serving on 3.
He's
He's serving on the planning and zoning. No?
Board of Adjustment.
Well, just the board of Adjustment. Okay, I
He
stand
said-
corrected. I
He said here,
misread it.
if necessary,
Yeah.
for an
he's
appointment by
on
the
his
city, he will apply to
application.
his position.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought he was already serving on planning and zoning and board of adjustment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if he's serving on just one, the version of the handbook that I read, apparently not the updated one, because that one's still prohibited.
Because we were having a hard time filling all those positions.
Right, we had talked about that before.
But
Okay.
he's on 2 boards, correct?
He's on one. He will be appointed, if appointed, he'll be on 2.
He's
Apparently,
on planning and zoning
And isn't he on Board of Adjustments?
and Board of Adjustments. And he says, at the bottom of his application, if necessary, for an appointment to the CDC board, I will vacate my position on either or both of these.
right.
So can we appoint him subject to,
If he is on 2 boards, then he needs to resign from one based on the latest revision of the board policy.
so, Councilman Douglas and Councilwoman Keplinger, do you want to revise your nomination to subject to his resignation from one, both? All right, motion on the floor made by Councilman Douglas, seconded by Councilwoman Keplinger, to appoint Norris Fletcher to position 3 on the CDC, subject to his resignation from one or both of the other boards that he's on. Does that sound right? If there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Me.
Yes, you opposed? Motion carries. Alma, did you get the opposition? Yes. That doesn't sound like. Did you get that? Wanda opposed, I'm sorry. Item G. Consideration and action to fund the Laguna Madre Youth Center, formerly the Boys and Girls Club of Laguna Madre. At this point, I'm going to excuse myself.
Mayor, I'd like to recuse myself as well.
Councilman Davalos and the mayor are going to excuse them. We're going to excuse ourselves and let them, Mayor Pro Tem take over.
Can I stay here?
Hmm?
Can I stay here?
Sure. And then I'll go Gretchen.
My name is Taylor Houston, and I am president of the Laguna Madre Youth Center, formerly known as the Boys and Girls Club of Laguna Madre. First and foremost, I would just like to appreciate the town community staff for all your help and efforts and financial contributions in the past. I'm sure there's been a lot of communication and whispers and this and that about the Boys and Girls Club. I would like to formally announce that we have dissolved under the Boys and Girls Club of America due to them not supporting us as a club and kind of being tossed into the fire without any kind of support at all, which is unfortunate for our almost 74 club members that we service on a day-to-day basis. Most of those kids don't have heat or air conditioning or food or guidance or any kind of mentorship at all. So us as a board have decided to just start, or actually amend our 501c nonprofit board from the Boys and Girls Club to actually the Laguna Madre Youth Center. Our mission is still the same, to provide outreach and community service to those underprivileged children of Laguna Vista, Port Isabel, and South Padre Island. Like I said earlier, thank you so much for your financial support. Unfortunately, with us dissolving with the BGCA, that actually makes any kind of funding that they gave us prior to this point null and void. So we are continuing to function right now based on any kind of donations that we're still receiving right now. I know you guys have contributed a significant amount of money in the past. So I'm just coming to reapproach and see if you guys can help us in the near future as well. The city of Port Isabel has actually helped us out a lot in the recent days. They've actually taken a lot more of our utility payments on, so they're helping us with that in advance. Also, they're giving us an actual city employee, Margie Jacobs. She's working with us part-time. She works at the cultural center right now, and she's kind of the supervisor of the club as we're speaking right now. Like I said, we service 74 children, and that's about all we can afford to do right now. There's 25 kids per employee, and we have 4 employees at this point. So as much as we love to service more children, that kind of caps us because we have to pay for their salaries at the same time. All of them are part-time. We have no full-time employees right now. No benefits are being paid, so our staff salaries are much less than they were. We did lose our CPO with the Boys and Girls Laguna Madre, which is actually a blessing in disguise if I'm completely honest with this whole thing. So we're doing an interim CPO, which is actually Marcella Hancock. And then as well, Margie Jacobs is actually supervising Boys and Girls Club in addition to her normal city job as well. Again, I ask you from the bottom of your hearts to support these kids, support our community. All 3 communities are working together right now. We're really, Port Isabel is really heavily involved. We're getting South Padre heavily involved, and we would love the communities to help out as well. We've actually rebranded ourselves, the Laguna Madre Youth Center. Actually had this really cool logo. I wanted to bring it tonight, but I can't. But it's the lighthouse of Port Isabel, the bridge of South Padre Island, and these beautiful palm trees from Laguna Vista with kids all around it. So we're really trying to kind of get everybody involved in this whole community. So we're always humbled as a board to get all the communities to help us out. We appreciate everything that you guys can do, and hopefully as the communities can make these kids feel like they really have a home to go to.
Thank you very much.
Madam Wilson?
I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Sure. You're like, don't go anywhere yet. Yes, sir.
Do you have a total of what the overall operation costs annually?
So our operational cost per month right now is $2,000.
And do you know how much money totally has been pledged to you?
So in the past 2 weeks, we've gotten a contribution of $3,100, and that's been from private donations itself.
So currently, how much is it?
Currently, we have $4,200.
Excuse me, and your annual operating budget is?
Our annual operation budget is about $100,000.
And that goes to? how
That
much
goes
can you
to
break down for that?
salaries. That goes to food program, which is actually removed first, so I'll throw about 90 cents per dollar. And then the rest of that's any kind of maintenance that we need to do, which is gonna become a lot less because Port Isabel is incurring a lot of our maintenance as well. So our operating budget last year was about $100 grand. I can't give you an actual budget for this year, but it will become less because we're not paying for a full-time staff member, which is what we were doing last year. So that expense has been cut out completely. In Port Isabel, we're not paying for Margie because she's an employee of the city of Port Isabel, so our payroll every couple weeks is about $1,000.
Okay, backing up just a little bit, I had asked about overall operation costs, you said $2,000 a month?
Yes, sir.
And then you said $100,000 a year, that doesn't compute.
That was for last year. So we don't
Is that
have an
right?
actual, we don't know what our budget is this year. I'm gonna be completely honest with you
You don't
guys.
have a budget?
We don't have a budget yet. Since we just started, we were just effective January 6th to transition to Laguna Madre Youth Center. So on our normal regular meeting is when we'll actually have all the hard numbers in place, and we can absolutely support those and give those to you guys as well. I just wanted to get on the agenda this month to get a head start.
Taylor, what you all do is just wonderful. I've always said, I've seen my own grandchildren take advantage of it and children, even out here. But I have a question, for example, on some of your board, who are your board members now?
So we still have the same board members. I myself am the president, vice president is Bettina Zamora, treasurer is Ivan Navades, and secretary is Frank Douglas, and then we have our normal board members, our legal counsel is Heather Scott, Diane O'Leary, Benji Gadiel, Holly Valdez, and Tyler Houston.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When normally one submits an application to your board, there's something about a $5,000 minimum you've got to contribute or give yourself as a board member. Where are those board members on their $5,000 minimum contribution?
We don't have any form that says you have to give $5,000.
I'm sorry?
We don't have any form that says a board member has to give
So
$5,000.
there was a package I got last year that said that.
Well, again, we're not in the Boys and Girls Club anymore, so we no longer have that form.
That was my question. The board, I think it's very, very important that you consider getting maybe other board members who have a real sense of business, of operations, who can really, really help you raise some serious money. I see that as a void, I really do. I can see the lawyer, okay, we need a legal person and so forth, but I think a lot of, you maybe get a community advisory group going, comprised of members of this whole area, that can help you guys from business, from various walks of life, but make sure that you get the money you need and help you touch into these major corporate sponsors and business people in this community that maybe haven't been talked to before, and give you all some more resources that you can talk to as a board to say, you know what, who do we talk to if we need information on taxes or this or fundraising or marketing or whatever. Yeah, I think y'all have been shifting on that wind over the last month or so, over the last year. So I think maybe just a committee advisory from all three cities would be good to kind of put together to help you all to help.
Right, and I completely agree with that. I think in the past, because we have been labeled as the BGCA, to be completely honest, and our former CPO, a lot of the community members were not willing to work with the staff that we had present. So now that we've dissolved under them and kind of have a fresh new face, we've already gotten a lot more response from each community in itself for help. So we're already on the up and I consider this a blessing in disguise for us to be actually not in Boys and Girls Club anymore, just because there were so many constraints and so much bad blood out there that I feel like, and you're absolutely right, that we can get so many more community awareness and community representatives in all walks of business and financial.
Utilize the talent we have in this community. There's a lot of good people that I think want to help you if we just ask.
Yes, I completely agree.
Mike, you have a question?
Yes.
What are the liabilities that the Boys and Girls Club carried over?
The liabilities, so we do still have our building loan, we are paying that, but we have that paid off. We have a reserve for that for the next year, so that's already in a reserve, that's taken care of. As far as any other liabilities at this point, those are just, we have a pension that we're paying on right now for former employees, and that's all I know about the top of my head right now.
You don't know about you don't know of anything else?
Not at this time, no.
How much would you like from our city, or do you need?
I'm not gonna put a number on it, honestly. I'm just not going to. I wouldn't feel right coming here and asking for a specific amount since we've done that in the past. I'm just asking for you guys to be open for us asking.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem,
Go ahead.
I want to remind the town council that under the Texas Constitution, it is unconstitutional to donate public funds to any private organization, no matter what you cause. You cannot give a donation. If this council desires to engage a group to provide a service, then you need to enter into a service contract with that group that specifies the services that you desire and the compensation that you will pay for the service, so that there is essentially a quid pro quo. If you're not donating, what you're doing is you are desiring a particular service that this particular group can offer. And so that is put into the terms of a contract, and you agree to pay a certain price for that service.
So
And in fact,
this differs from what the Boys and Girls Club were.
no, I think we did a service contract with the Boys and Girls Club because the same constitutional prohibition.
Yeah, I forgot.
There's quarterly reports and so on and so forth.
And that's something that we can absolutely provide. I'm not up here, I hope you guys aren't getting the impression that I don't know what I'm talking about. I've just been president for a couple weeks, so give me a little bit of a curve here, but We can absolutely provide any kind of reports that you want, like that's all,
Yes.
can absolutely be provided. Any kind of more documentation you want about liabilities, we can get that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Couple more comments.
Sure.
One is, we certainly all of us appreciate what you're doing. I was on that board for many years. And we went in front of United Way every year.
Right.
Are they not in the plan?
The United Way application is due February 3rd, that's already been submitted.
Have they
We won't hear
commented
any,
on
we won't
any
hear any.
amounts, or did y'all solicit them?
So we
on amount?
solicited them for 50,000.
50?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We won't hear anything back from them, probably a couple months after February 3rd is the deadline.
So y'all have met with them? Or you
Yes.
just sent them a letter?
Yes,
Both? Yeah,
that
that's
and
great.
legacy as well.
Yeah. What about the local businesses? I know everybody gets hit. I am a local business. But I know everybody gets hit. That, or this particular issue at hand, I think most people, even small businesses, would do something. Have you done any reaching out to the local
We have,
community?
as a board, solicited multiple businesses. Again, I'm going to revert back to the prior staff member that we had
No,
as
yeah.
TKO. There's a lot of bad blood there, so now that that bad blood's gone, we're getting a lot more openness and a lot more free communication from the businesses. So there, it is there, however, we haven't received any actual financial contributions. There's been reaching out and talkings and meetings and much more openness with this, but no actual monetary money is in.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna remember this question to our attorney. In a capital campaign, Mr. Woodall, that they could very easily undertake, because who they are now and not part of the Boys and Girls Club, that could very well happen. And we can be part of it, and tell me here if I'm okay, that we could then, because of a capital campaign, can help them in that sense?
No, but you cannot, there is a general prohibition against the donation of public funds. If this community is going to spend money on this type of program, they need a services contract that states what services are going to be provided and for which you're paid. That's what nullifies it. Then it's not a donation. It is an actual agreement where you are procuring something of benefit for the community and in turn paying for it. Now, it can be done in the context of the capital campaign, but you still need that contract in order to be able to release the funds.
I have a question for Rolanda. How much money have we given the Boys and Girls Club in the last year?
The last fiscal year was $5,000, amended the budget for $5,000, and then for this current year was $5,000.
Did anyone give them 10 last year?
It was what, when you combine last year with this year, it's 10.
We did that special, so we'd give them money, then they came and asked for more money,
Yeah, so
and we gave them more money.
Yeah, and we got the check for, yeah, a couple months ago. Yeah.
So we're gonna give another 5 again this year.
We already did.
We already did. But that money's gone,
That money's not correct.
right? 'Cause that's, and there's no cash left over.
Like I said, we do have an operating expense. We can't operate, what we have in the coffers right now, we can operate for 2 more months. After that, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
And what happens if, you have a limit with the number of kids that you serve, so kids are being turned away?
We have a waiting list of about 75. But again, that goes to, we have to either accrue volunteers to come in and work with the kids, and those volunteers have to go through a rigorous background check. We can't just let anybody through the door to be with our children. Or we have to pay them a partial salary. Part-time.
Are you still gonna continue like the athletic programs
So
like
that's one of
basketball and
our big
things like
goals
that?
right now with the Boys and Girls Club. It was not allowed for us to have any kind of sports. So with the Laguna Madre Youth Center, we're gonna try looking into basketball league, soccer league, try to bring more actual events where we can use that as a revenue as well, maybe do a cheerleading camp, something to actually basketball tournaments, soccer tournaments, dodgeball tournaments. Everything is in the motion right now, we just need to get the word out there and actually find people that can coach these things or be there, right?
I want to make one other comment,
Yes, sir.
Madam Mayor, that is, I'm listening to what the city manager said about $5,000 being allocated last year and $5,000 being allocated this year. If $5,000 was allocated this year, it was pursuant to a contract. And if the Boys and Girls Club no longer exists, then they are in breach of contract, because the contract would have been for the fiscal year. So keep that in mind.
Wow, you took on a big job and I applaud
It
you
is,
for that.
it's okay.
I know that my kids certainly have enjoyed going there, and I'm sure there's many other children in this community that would truly benefit from what you guys do. And I really respect that you took this on. I mean, that's
They can do it.
yes. And as from a city, I think we would love to see as soon as you can, if your financial reports, your whole plan for this year. I think if we can see, okay, you've got these and these sports plan, these and these activities, this is your goals, this is your all those things. That would be great. I think would go help a lot with helping us make the decision on how to cross that bridge.
Absolutely.
One more question. How do you prioritize the kids that are on the waiting list versus the ones that are in?
From my understanding, it's first come, first served. So, at the same time, we can always amend our qualifications and amend our dues at the same time. As a BGCA, we were not allowed to charge very much for admission to the Boys and Girls Club, and we still wouldn't charge it as a Laguna Madre Youth Center, and this has been tossed around a little bit. Previously, as a BGCA, the dues for each child was $25 a year, and that was it. So, and that was high. That was a high amount compared to other Boys and Girls Club areas in the valley. So we have the option of charging a little bit more, maybe $25 a semester, or a quarter, or whatever. So that's also in the works to see if we can actually make it a little bit more money.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Council. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
for what you're doing.
Yes, definitely. Alright, so you wanna call back to the mayor?
Yeah.
Good job, Hayden.
A big job.
Yes,
I know.
yes.
And then to be interrogated like this.
No, it's fine.
Good job.
Can I ask a little question on the side? Do you still do the after school programs for the kids?
Item H. This is an update on the 2011 certificates of obligation. Orlando?
Mayor, council, we have $15,140 in available funds. We have insurance earnings of $14.94. And we had a $1,200 expenditures, which was the cost for the design of the Brooklyn Memorial. That's what we have as far as the update. The cash balance statement, the ledger and all that, that's there on that attached to that.
Any questions of Mr. Villa? Mr. Carter?
Next one.
Are you ready to go? Item I, city manager's report.
Mayor, council, the solar light project, we were supposed to activate this before the end of the year. Holidays came about, there's some changes, improvement needs to be made to the solar light project. Needless to say, Mayor, there's a form that you need to sign from AEP. Once you sign it tonight, the solar light company will come in tomorrow, and AEP will come in and make the necessary change to the improvements we made outside, and then we're gonna be able to start operating on solar energy. And the second item, Orange Lane street improvements, a follow-up to the action you took a few weeks ago. The engineers already started working on the construction plans. Anticipate 4 to 5 weeks for those construction plans on Orange Lane. Once we get those, we'll go out for bids. And so there's an advertisement process. Those come to you and so on and so forth. That's all. Yes, sir.
The solar lights, because they weren't operational by the end of the year, do we still qualify for that grant?
Yes, yes, we do. We've been working closely with AEP.
Because we applied in a timely manner?
Yeah,
Is that right?
everything, yeah, they needed to see the improvements actually there by a certain date. And they came over and they saw everything had been done. Now they need to come over and flip the switch.
Any further questions? Anything?
Since we're on the street improvement, Mayor, you mentioned earlier about that we pretty soon can do all the streets in the
Let's
vicinity.
check with Counselor if we can talk about it.
You're probably broader than the sun, you're talking, yeah. You only have Orange Lane Street.
So Orange Lane is next on the
There's
list.
the
and
word
then
street there though.
I'll ask you later.
Okay.
I'm sorry, maybe that's,
No.
we don't wanna get in trouble.
Sorry to be the
We
bearer of
wanna-
bad
No,
We wanna keep things going the way,
It's
the
okay.
way they normally do, and we're gonna be still on the righteous path. Any other questions, Mr. Bell? All right, then the motion is to adjourn. I'll make a motion to
Go for
adjourn.
it.
Right.
Motion to adjourn. Made by, Councilman Campbell, seconded by Councilman Davos, adjourn at 7:00.